All right, traders, the green streak is officially over. This is now my second red day in 2023. I'm going to walk you through in terms of the mistakes that I ended up making today. At the peak, I was up 4K. Then I gave it all back, down 6K. Then I finished the day only down 2K. With that being said, I'm going to show you how to trade the best setups at the best prices. First things first, we're going to start off with the trading plan. Then towards the end of the video, we're going to be discussing the recap of the trades and the mistakes that were made along with the price action for the day. Let's get straight into the analysis. So as you know, my plan was to buy puts once the gap fills at 415.19. In the pre-market, this did get to a high of 414.92. It partially filled the gap and began to sell off and began to reverse towards the market open. This previous support here reacted as a resistance level, which is bearish. Therefore, it's already bearish and it's not going to try to fill the gap and it's going to continue to sell off. When I woke up and pulled out my phone and noticed the chart on SPY, my mind literally told me, this is going to crash. It's going to start to fill the gap. Just play the puts. Forget the whole, the gap's going to fill at 415. Just get in as best as you can get in. That's what my mind told me. But then in terms of trading the best setups at the best prices and trying to be a good teacher on stream, I chose not to do that. And I sat on the sidelines and I missed out on the entire move. Then I started doing lotto trades. At first, it was working out very, very well. Then I just kept on trading, had some bad trades and gave back all the profits and went green to red. So I'm going to share with you my mistakes. But I'm telling you, man, if you're seeing bearish confirmations, we knew 415 was the best price. And Dimitri played puts and he held for quite a bit and made over 27K today. But if you're seeing that it basically fills the gap and it starts to sell off, this went from like 415 to 413.50, and then you're seeing these lower highs on the 30-minute where this previous floor right here is reacting as a resistance. It's starting to break down. It's probably best to just play the puts. Even right here, it had a massive crash to 413 from 415 and it instantly popped back up to 414 to that previous support, reacted as a resistance. The whole trend for the day was the previous floors were reacting as a resistance levels. Right here, this is your floor. Your floor is at 414 to 413.50. It cracks the floor. It cracks the floor, spikes right back up, reacts as a resistance level, which is bearish, forming lower highs. Then it continues to sell off, which is bearish. Right here, there's a floor at $412. It cracks the floor, goes to 410.50, spikes right back up. Previous support reacts as a resistance. Right here, there is a floor at $411. It cracks through the previous closing price, and as you know, if the previous closing price reacts as a resistance level and it's bearish, there is no reason for puts. There is no reason for calls if it cracks and reacts as a resistance level. It blew through the previous closing price, no bullish confirmations. It popped back up. On the pop back, it was simply forming lower highs. It was turning this previous support that has never been tested at 411 into previous resistance. The high was 410.15. 411 is going to be a key level to watch tomorrow, slightly above that previous closing price. But that's the game, man. Catching a trend. The trend for the entire day was bearish. So when it cracks a floor, wait for it to rip back up to the previous floor and it reacts as a resistance. So if you're seeing, it fills the gap towards 415 almost, it's reacting bearish, and then you have a floor at this 414, it cracks, instantly rips back up, play the puts on the rip back up, previous support reacts as a resistance. Right here, there's a floor at $412, it cracks, pops back up, previous support reacts as a resistance, short the lower highs, short the spike. Right here, there's a floor at $411. It cracks, it rips back up to 410.50. Previous closing price and previous support, new lower highs react as a resistance, and it sells off. Right here, your new floor is at $409. It cracks, it spikes back up, reacts as a resistance, previous support is now resistance, and it sells off. So the whole trend and the wise thing to really be doing was to wait for the support levels to crack on the 5 to 30 minute. And then when it has a nice drop, wait for it to instantly spike back up to the previous support and buy the puts with the trend on top of those spikes as previous support reacts as a resistance. And then just stop doing it when it no longer works. When you have the first loss, call it for the day or scale back in size so you don't go from green to red. That was the overall trend. I'm very disappointed that I did not take advantage of the trend. The main rule that I ended up breaking was focusing on buying calls when the previous closing price was reacting as bearish and reacting as a resistance, trying to buy calls on the dips against the trend. That's the main thing that I ended up doing wrong today. I'm going to go over more of that into today's video. But in terms of tomorrow, what I want you to understand is in terms of the SPY, here's our key levels. I want you to write down this: $411. $411, I would say, would be one of the best prices for puts. 411 would be one of the best prices for puts for a quick scalp. It's a previous support level that has never been tested, and we already had a massive drop. If it goes to 411, it could be a quick lotto scalp trade on puts, max risk 411.50. The best trade, the best setup is still puts at 415. Save that for the future. We still haven't filled the gap, and within time, it's going to try to fill the gap. So 411 and 415, the lotto trade is puts at 411. The best setup, the best price is 415. In terms of the SPY, we are a little bit oversold on the micro. In terms of a lotto trade for calls, these are the two things that I want you to understand. As long as we stay under this level right here, which is $407.66 and react as a resistance level, the SPY will continue to sell off. If we stay under this $408 level, it will continue to sell off, it will continue to drop, and we will be on track for a drop to $404, right around this next support level right here towards 404 to 403. As you can see, the SPY is attempting to gap down almost. We'll see how it reacts at the open. But if this does gap down tomorrow, they will try to spike this up. If it gaps down tomorrow, do not buy puts. If it gaps down tomorrow, avoid the puts. If this gaps down tomorrow and you want to do puts, the previous closing price, 407.9, would be the entry for that. If it gaps down tomorrow, the best price for calls as a lotto trade, not the best setup at the best price, but as a lotto trade, $402.50. So in terms of the levels and in terms of what I want you to understand, if the SPY stays under 407.50 to 408, it is super bearish, and it's going to try to go to $404 to $403. That's the zone that it drops to. If it breaks above 408 and reacts as support, then it's going to flip bullish and it's going to spike to that 411. 407 is make or break support. If it holds 407, it tries to go to 408. If it breaks above 408, we go to 411. If 407 cracks, reacts as a resistance level, or we gap down, we're on track for 404 to 403. That's what we're on track for. Lotto calls towards 402.50. So in terms of the key levels, best setups to best prices, 407.09, previous closing price, make or break. 411 is a nice lotto trade for puts. Best setup at best price for puts is $415 for next week or whenever it's going to happen. 407 is make or break. If it holds, it goes to 408. If it breaks above 408, then we go to 411. If 407 cracks, then we go to 404 to 403. That's where we are. In terms of lotto numbers to keep an eye on, 402.50 to 403, buy the dip. If it gaps down, ride it back up a little bit. 407.09 is make or break. If it gaps down, pumps up, reacts as a resistance, scalp puts. Be very, very careful. Previous support right here is going to try to react as a resistance because it cracked, and they will try to dump this to 403. So if it gaps down, wait for it to rip back up. Previous support at 407, 408, reacts as a resistance, scalp the puts. If 408 breaks out and reacts as a support, the trend will flip. We will see 411. That would be the next best price for puts at 411 if that were to occur. 407 is make or break support. 411 is lotto puts. If we go under 407, we're on track for 403 to 404. If we break above 407 to 408, we're on track for 411. That's what I want you to understand. My key levels of interest are going to be lotto puts at 411. 407, I'm just kind of watching. If it does gap down and go to 402 to 403, then I would like to try a put at 407 for the previous support to react as a resistance level. That's what I would like to do if it gapped down. I'm going to keep an eye on 411, 407, and 402.50. Those are my three levels heading into tomorrow. 402.50, best level for calls. 407 is make or break. If it gaps down, scalp puts at 407. Be careful. And $411 for lotto puts. So remember, 407, make or break. It cracked. Previous support, trying to react as a resistance. Bearish, it's going to try to test 402.50. It's make or break. Break above 408, sends it to 411. That's what I'm going to be looking at heading into tomorrow. Now, in terms of mistakes that I ended up making, the main rules that I ended up breaking today was focusing on buying calls against the trend as pure lotto trades. I even said in my chat, there's no reason for calls. These are just lottos. It's just a gamble in a sense. I was doing very, very well at one point. I had 7 wins in a row in calls. Then I got a little too confident. Position went against me. I kept adding to the position, gave back a lot of profit, and then I did the same thing again, and then I went green to red on the second time. But with that being said, man, I did have some fairly good lottos. Weren't the best. The best trade I had, and shout out to Top G for this, I played puts at the exact top when this was at 408 right here at the exact top. It crashed $1 in a single minute. My same day expirations went up 100%. I was down 6K because I was buying calls into this drop, and then I sold into the lows for a loss. Those calls that I bought, if I would have held, I would have made over 100%. I cut my losses for a 60% loss on the same day. Losses are going to be bigger percentage-wise if you're trading during power hour. These are lotto hours. It's going to be extremely volatile if you're doing same days. Then after that 60% loss, I didn't do anything, missed out on this crazy run-up. 407 calls went from 14.7 all the way to $1.25. I bought puts at the exact peak. Top G within the chat, Steven said, buy puts. I looked at the chart. I'm like, this just spiked $2.20. It makes perfect sense. Lotto puts for the very, very end. I played puts. Dimitri played puts. I made 100% on that 4K position, 4K profit within 2 single minutes. So the one trade and the best trade was the trend. The trend for the entire day was to short nice spikes. When it goes back to previous support levels, short the resistance right here. This is your previous support. Your floor is at 408. Big sell off to 405.80. If it instantly rips back up to previous support, buy the put options. That's why we did that. If you would have done that the entire day, you would have been sitting on a very nice pile of cash. But I only did it once. That was the problem. And I'm telling you, man, my intuition told me play puts it open. Play puts it open. One of the reasons why I didn't do it is because I wanted to wait for the gap to fill, and I wanted the students to play the gap close reversal. I didn't want them to play a partial reversal. But I'm telling you, man, if we're going to do a partial reversal and it's close and I see confirmations, I'm just going to get in as a lotto, and I'll do some leaps. I won't even do a same day expiration. I'll do some leap options, play it safe because the gap could still fill. But if we're at a very attractive resistance level, we knew this, and we did have people decide to play puts as a partial, they're gonna bank, man. Look at this, man. This 415 resistance, big downside potential. History repeats and support cracked. So the main thing where I went wrong was not going with my intuition and gut, which did tell me to buy puts towards open and trying to nickel and dime this. Like if anything, I could just do some leap puts, not same day expirations, because you don't want to do partial gap close reversal on same days. That's the first mistake I made, not going with my intuition and just trying to do 100% what the best thing was, missing out on such a great move. Another mistake that I was focusing on was buying calls when it went under the previous closing price and reacts as a resistance. It doesn't matter how oversold it is. If it goes below the previous closing price, reacts as a resistance, drops, sells off, it is bearish. And the entire trend for the day was whenever it cracks as a support level, it would spike back up to that previous support and then it would sell back off. Meaning if you bought puts after it spiked back up to the previous support, you could have done that right here. You could have done that right here. You could have done that right here. And you could have done it right here into the close. So much opportunity. I did not focus on that until the very end. And I paid the price by continuing to buy call options. And it was working very well. I was scalping. I was going hard in scalping call options right around this 408 level. I bought calls so many times at 408. I was bottom taking this at the 408s, selling into the rip. 10% win, 10% win. I had 7 wins in a row, 10% wins. And then I gave back a lot of the profit because I kept going and I kept doing it, and it works until it doesn't work. So what you can do is you can even make money trading against the trend, but I don't like teaching that. I was making money trading against the trend, but you have to protect the profits. You can keep on going if you want, but at some point it's not going to work. And when it doesn't work, you just take the loss, you get out, you get back some of the profit, and then you walk away. That's where I went wrong. I did not walk away. I kept going and I kept trying to fight the trend. It is only going to work until it just doesn't work anymore. So if you're going to continue to trade for the day, what I would tell you is when you have your first loss, call it for the day. And if you choose to trade, calculate it and just make sure that you don't give your profits. If you're at $500 on the day, make sure the next trade that you make, all right, I'm going to set my stop loss here. The most I'm going to risk is $200. I'll get back $200 on my profits to make another $400, $300 profit, whatever it is, right? Just make sure, like you need to think. If you're up and you choose to trade again, you need to think and ask yourself, okay, what's the position size going to be? Where's the stop loss going to be? I'm going to make sure that in terms of where my stop loss is, and if I lose on this one, I'm still going to be green on the day. I'm up $500. Okay. The max risk is going to be $200. If I lose, I'll lose $200. I'll still be up $300. If I win, I'll make another $200 to $500, right? So you must do that. If you choose to continue to trade, you must sit there, stop and think and figure out, okay, Where am I going to enter? What's the position size going to be? If I get stopped out here, what's the loss going to be? Is it going to be a $100 loss? Is it going to be a $200 loss? What's the situation? You must know the outcome before you even enter the trade. You must know how much profit you're going to risk before you even enter the trade. You need to calculate it. Okay, I'm up $500. I'm going to buy calls here, and my max risk is 20%. So if the contract goes 20% against me, then I'm going to lose. I'm going to get stopped out, right? So then $1,000 position size, 20% loss, you risk $200. Get back $200 of your gains, and if you're right, you make $200 to $500. That's what you must do, and that's what I want you to understand. So those were the mistakes that I ended up making today. I did notice I ended up becoming my lower version of myself, my older self. Sometimes when you're making changes and you're disciplined and you're making changes and you're becoming better, you will slip back to your old self and to your old habits. It does happen. The key is to be aware and to be conscious of it happening. And then just walk away. If you see it happening, just walk away, call it for the day. Don't even try to fix it. And then just reset the next day. You must be aware of it in the moment. That's where a team can help really benefit you, because they can call you out on that. If everyone's educated on what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, they're all going to call you out and say you're trading against the trend. You're trying to make money trading against the trend. That's not how we make money. I know how to make money against the trend, but I genuinely believe that is not the best way to make money, and I don't think it's the right thing to do. It was working very well for me in the beginning, not like super well, but it was working. And then, like I said, just poor risk management, very bad habits, and the trades that I was making, in a sense, they were not good trades. But I knew that. I knew they weren't good trades. I literally just wanted to trade in a sense. Like I said, I was becoming an older version of myself, breaking habits and just not making good trades in a sense against the trend. And I paid the price for that. I was up 4K at the peak, and then I had some losses, down 6K, and then I made that one last trade that put me back on the map for 100% went on puts with the trend, and that was the best trade that worked out. I made a 4K profit, so now I'm down only 2K on the day. But when you're becoming, when you see the bad habits kicking in, just cut it and call it for the day and reset. One thing I will tell you, and write this down, this is very underrated: focus. Focus is one of the most important aspects to trading in whatever it is that you're doing, in my opinion. You must be laser focused. What is the trend? If I decide to trade the trend, what is the best entry to go with the trend? What is happening? What are the rules? I'm telling you, focus. If it's under the previous closing price, don't buy calls. Don't go long. You must be focused, man. That is so underrated. I am telling you, if you do not have focus in this market, you're going to get destroyed. If your focus is slipping away, whether it's getting later into the day and you're getting tired, or you just see you're losing focus, you're losing that momentum, you're losing that third eye, just walk away, man. You must be very conscious, very aware, and you must be focused. The key word of the day, man, I'm telling you, is focus. Make sure you are focused. Make sure you understand everything it is that you're doing. Make sure you understand where the trend is at, where the current state of the market is at, right? So I understand right now the chart doesn't look too bullish, and we just cracked this support. The support was at 400 and 400 and right here, $408. So if it cracks 408 and reacts as a resistance, it's going to go to the next support level, which is going to be right around here. They're going to try to bounce this at 406, cracks 406, then it goes to 403, right? So these are things you must be aware of. If it breaks above 408, then it's going to go to 411. These are things you must be aware of. So you must be focused, man. Just write that down. And if you're not focused, just do not do anything. You must have laser sharp focus within this market, or they're going to eat you alive. And like I said, man, if you don't have to do same day expirations. You could do further leap option contracts. I would have held my calls a little bit longer and I would have banked if I didn't have same day expirations, but I had same day expirations and I just had to get out. But if I had leaps, I could have just held a little bit longer and it would have been very, very fine. But I don't like holding period, but leaps are a lot less stressful. If you're going with further contracts like 2 weeks out, they're a lot more expensive, less volatile, less rewarding, but you can take bigger position sizes to make up for that. And you can hold because they're not getting theta crush, theta decay. So you can find a balance with the contracts that you choose. Zero dates are extremely tough. You have to time it perfectly and get in and get out like a sniper. You cannot hold these contracts. You must get in and get out quickly. You must use buttons. You must have the proper broker and platform set up. If you don't have it set up the right way, you can't scalp. For most people, it's just best to go with like a 5-day expiration. Go with something a couple days out, or even 1 week out, like a week to 2 weeks out. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to be calling it here. If you do want to be a part of Traders Society, that is going to be that first link down below in the description. Fridays are known for being my best trading days, and I'm looking forward to getting back at it, man. I'm telling you, I'm going to try my best to end the week strong and to finish tomorrow green. I'm seeing some patterns lining up. We just got to wait for the key levels, whether that's going to be 403, whether that's going to be 407, whether it's going to be 411. 403, 407, and 411 are my best levels. The higher the better for puts, the lower the better for calls. That's my analysis. That's my thoughts for the SPY. If you want to be a part of Trader Society, it is a one-time fee. It is a lifetime access. Now is the best time to join. You get to watch me trade live on stream. You get access to the Discord server, the chat room. You get access to my real-time trade alerts. You get access to the best members within the Discord side. To them, you can network with them. You can ask them questions. They can help you out. And you can also see their trades. They alert their trades and scalps within real time. Top G, Steven, he's making some of the best trades within the Discord. I took that trade. He told me get in on puts when it was at 408. I made 100% in 1 single minute. If SPY drops $1 and you're in on puts right before the close, you're looking at 100% return plus on those same day expirations within a single minute. So if you want to be a part of Trader Society, it's the first link down below in the description. As soon as you join, you get instant lifetime access. Thank you guys so much for watching this video.